Hello friends, and welcome to another colour along. Today we are colouring red, which is from Forest Song. If you don't have Forest Song, that's alright, because you can grab this image in the Colour Club pack from March Colour Club pack, which is available at rjhenson.com, and you can grab all of the pages that I'll be colouring in March from that Colour Club pack if you don't have the books. If you do have the books, then you're ready to go. Now, of course, this is the Red Riding Hood story. I'm really keen to have this red pop out. And then we've got this beautiful sky in the background, so it'd be fun to have mood there. It'd be fun to pop these flowers out, so maybe a darker background at the front. Maybe some light coming through here. It'd be fun to play with maybe autumn leaves there. We've got this wolf. I was thinking going pretty classic with the wolf, sticking with greys. So I was going to kick off with the wolf. Now I do have a sheet of paper and a sheet of acetate under this page, and I was going to play with some Ohuhus. Now I do have my Honolulu Plus packs, which I've been enjoying, and this is a light grey. It's called Porcelain, and let's just have a play with Porcelain. I want this to sort of be white, but I don't want it to be full white, so I'm just going to sort of underbase it with this light grey. I hope you guys have been well. I hope that you guys have grabbed your copy of Tiny Tales 3 and are working through it. What a fun book that is. I had a lot of fun drawing that book, creating that book, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it went down, because it's a different sort of thing. It's more of like a little storybook that you can colour along, where you can colour the pages, but when you finish you'll end up with a storybook. So I have seen one video out there that's got someone's grandkid involved, and it seemed to be enjoyed. All right, I'm going to a darker grey. This is a Cashmere grey, still not a dark grey, it's a lighter grey, but I just want to encourage a little bit of differentiation. Now I think I'm going to go the top of the wolf. Got this little section here, sort of a mid grey, like this sort of grey. I was tempted for a moment to use my Derma Inktense. I really love a blending sort of grey, but I thought I'd stick with my Ohuhus. I'm going to go over this with some coloured pencils. I was thinking of using my Polychromos. I like the colour range of the Polychromos, and I like how blendable they are with each other. All right, this is a Pastel Icy Grey. I'm going to try and be really light on my brush here. Now let's do some of that on this. I do want the legs to blend into white on the socks. Now let's do a little bit of the highlight of the eyes. I think that's a great base to begin our wolf with. All right, I'm going to bring in some darks. I'm going to stick with the cold colours. These are cold greys. I'm going to stick with my cold grey 6. And this is sepia. Interesting to sort of bring in a little bit of more warmth. So I'm going to sharpen this really nicely and then try and accentuate that fur. I really pull out some fur vibes around the face especially. And I'm starting with my cold grey. And let's throw some sepia and see what that does to our colours. Bring a little bit of warmth, but I'm hoping not too much. Because I do want it to be a really grey, like a grey wolf. And all the colour to be here, whereas this is sort of grey. We need multiple levels of meaning, don't we, in our illustrations? And as always, want to spend a lot of time getting the face right, because that's where all the expression is. All right, back to my cold grey 6. bring back that sepia, dark sepia. Back to our dark sepia. I really want this area under here to be nice and dark. As I do with this one, can really sell those shadows, and right up in that gap there is going to be fun to play with. All right, let's get some of that dark sepia in the tail. Once again, I just want to sort of indicate the fur with my pencil strokes here. Cold grey 6. And some of that sepia. I'm going to just do some little sepia into the top of his coat here. But not too much, not too heavy. I just want to sort of bring some blends into the play. I know this is going to seem crazy, but dark Naples ochre. I just want to bring in a little bit of yellow. And I want to start with his eye. And just a touch. In the white parts of his fur. All right, put that away, Russ, put it away. All right, I'm just going to bring a Prismacolor in. This is white. I've got it nice and sharp because I want to bring some white in, but I want to bring it with a nice waxy pencil so that it sort of sits on top. All right, just a touch, a little bit of cinnamon in the ear here. Maybe just a little bit of a little bit of a dab down here in his paws. All right, I think we've got our wolf sorted. Okay, now because this trunk of the tree is a frame, I want it to sort of be more part of the wolf than part of the story in the background. So I'm going to have these trunks in the same greys that I used for the wolf. And I'm going to start that with the Cashmere grey. And then I'm going to bring that darker grey in, the Pastel ice grey. And back to our cashmere grey for the other side. Oh. I mean, this is my pastel ice grey. Oh, what do you think? A bit of sepia to bring back my white Prismacolor. And I think, once again, just a little touch of the cinnamon. Just want to warm it up a little bit. I don't want too much, so I'm just pressing lightly to sort of bring our highlights in. All right, back to our sepia, dark sepia. Right, back to my white Prismacolor. I'm bringing this lighter grey, a really light grey I used here for, this is called Porcelain. I just want to give some colour into these little branches, but I don't want to go as dark as I have been. A little bit of cinnamon. All right, let's look at next this little Red Riding Hood. I've got this colour called Vivid Red. And I'm just going to mix that with a little bit of coral. This is coral, it's a bit lighter. I just put more highlights in because I don't want to bog it all in with my reds before I've pulled out everything I want to highlight. So that's my coral red. Now I'm bringing in my Vivid Red. And I'm going classic red. It's the name of the illustration. I can't really not do it red, can I? All right, just a touch more coral on the back of this. Now I'm going to bring in sort of a darker red, bit of it trending towards a little bit of purple garnet. All right, I'm bringing in a little bit of pencils. I've got a burnt carmine here and a kaput mortem violet. Now, kaput mortem violet. A little bit of burnt sienna. This is some green gold. I want the shine on her shoes to be the green gold. Then I'm going to go to this, which is burnt sienna. And a little touch of walnut brown at the base. And a little touch of that too in there. All right, this is my green gold. And my dark Naples yellow, which we used in the eye for our wolf. I'm going to finish that off with a bit of burnt sienna. I'm going with some beige red for a little face and arms. And I just want to pull some cinnamon in again. That beige red. All right, let's get some socks on her. I'm going to go with grey socks. This is our pastel ice grey. And I think for her pants, we give her some dark sepia pants with a bit of a mix of that walnut brown. Now I'm going to leave the little package until I've got more colours. But I think we've got our real Red Riding Hood and our wolf all sorted. I think the next thing we need to do is work out what our block colours are going to be. All right, now I really want these flowers to pop. So I want to do this front little section of greenery in sort of like a darker green. So I have picked out this colour, peacock green. And I'm hoping that'll provide a nice base for our flowers to shine from. It's fun to get back into forest song. I think the temptation is as you create more books, you just want to roll with the new. But then you look back and you go, well, there's a lot of fun stuff that we've been doing over the years. And yeah, it's fun to go back and look through. So I have created a spreadsheet of the things that I've coloured so that I'm going to not neglect certain products. For instance, oceans has no colour alongs from me. And I've done a few from Forest Song, but this is one that I've been wanting to do. Do you like the green? Works well with the red, contrast. I'm also going to do these, or this little shrub here in the same green, peacock green, which of course is called a different colour now if you were to buy a new Ohuhu set. But that's right, because I've got the two different colours, the old colour from the old colour Ohuhu Ohuhu set, and then what I believe is the new universal Ohuhu numbering system. Bringing in this deep cobalt green, because I want to have some variation in my flower, so I'm going to darken it towards the edge here. Now I really want to go dark at the edges. I'm bringing in a black. Don't think I've ever used a black before, but there we go. I'm just going to put a touch purple violet in the tips here. Just to the grass. Okay, this is a colour called green shadow. These leaves to be green, but nice and light compared to the grass in the background. All right, people, I do have this colour here called pinkish vanilla. And I was wondering about using it to sort of colour this section of the grass in. So there's like a white part on her. If that makes sense. And then I wanted to bring in this colour called Antique Fuchsia. Just sort of blend that into that pinkish vanilla. And then maybe a little bit darker with our dark pink. So I'm going to just keep going with that, back to our pinkish vanilla. Do that over this side as well. A little bit of antique fuchsia. Then a little bit of dark pink. I want to echo that in these leaves. I don't know why. I was thinking going orange, but I don't know how orange is going to work. I'm going to stick with my pinkish vanilla. And then some antique fuchsia. I think some dark pink. So I'm just going to roll those three colours through all of my foliage up the top there and see where that leaves us. So pinkish vanilla. Some antique fuchsia. And some dark pink. Some antique fuchsia. All right, I'm going to add some of that pinkish vanilla. Just down the side of this tree and down the side of this tree. Then I'm going to bring in some of this, is called Further Colour of Skin. Sort of a muddy grey colour. Then I'm going to bring in some grey wolf hair. Then I'm going to bring in some of this colour called Tumbleweed. And I should probably do the same on the other side. So this is the Further Colour of Skin. Some grey wolf hair. Yeah, look at this tumbleweed colour. Yeah, a little bit more pinkish vanilla here. I think we do a similar thing to this tree, so pinkish vanilla. Some Further Colour of Skin. Some grey wolf hair. And touch of fat tumbleweed. I'm just going to blend that a bit more with the Further Colour of Skin. Just to pull that tumbleweed back a bit. But still give us lovely brown trees. Back to our pinkish vanilla. Further Colour of Skin. Grey wolf hair. Yeah, a little bit of tumbleweed. I'm just going to blend that with a bit of the grey wolf hair this time. All right, I just want to bring this tree into the further colour of skin fold. With a little bit of tumbleweed. And I'm just going to use the grey wolf hair to blend that. Get some over this side for the colour of skin. Got this tree that's in the foreground as well. Tumbleweed. And the grey wolf hair. Okay, I have this colour called Raw Umber. I think the trees that are back further are going to be a little bit darker. I'm just going to try some antique fuchsia on this tree. Yeah, a little bit of dark pink. Just for fun, some grey wolf hair. All right, back to our raw umber. Let's do some of that pinkish vanilla on this tree. And in this tree. And maybe even this tree. And a little bit of antique fuchsia. And some dark pink. And some raw umber. I'm going to do this one further colour of skin. And the grey wolf hair. And even a bit of tumbleweed. Let's get that in there. All right, we've got some canopy, you know, the trees in the background. I was going to use this colour called Orchid Smoke. All right, I've got this colour called Barely Beige. And I'm going to bring in all those colours I was using. So pinkish vanilla, I think, was one we were using. Then some antique fuchsia. And then some dark pink, darkish pink. No, just dark, not darkish. Dark pink. Back to the Barely Beige. And I'm mixing these all in when they're wet so they blend. This is the pinkish vanilla, antique fuchsia, and the dark pink. The Barely Beige. I'm going to take this one down a bit further. Some pinkish vanilla. A little bit of antique fuchsia. And I want to get a touch of darkish pink in. Let's do this one the other way around. Some darkish pink at the bottom. Do it here too. Some antique fuchsia. some pinkish vanilla. And a little bit of early beige. All right, this is a colour called cerulean blue. Let's see what this does to our picture. All right, this is a colour called helio blue reddish. I just want to get some nice dark. Toward my horizon there. I'm going to bring back in this purple violet. I think that could be sort of fun to add in. Down here. I'm going to do some of that purple violet here as well, just to give us some differentiation. All right, I'm grabbing my peacock green because I want this door to be green. What do you think of a little bit of tumbleweed? Let's get some of this dark Naples ochre in here. Maybe a little bit of brown ochre. You know, I think a little bit of cinnamon isn't going to go astray in here. I'm going to use cashmere grey for this smoke. All right, let's use some of that dark Naples ochre. Some of these little flowers here, let's make them yellow. Some of these leaves could be yellowing as well. Right, let's look at these flowers. I've got some fuchsia here. I'll do the center of them, fuchsia. And some light purple pink. Light purple pink. This is a bit of fuchsia. Don't know why, but I just want to put some up here. Just going to put some of that light purple pink just reflecting off the back of this little wolf here. All right, this is cream. I just want to bring some light into the center here and some yellowish light. All right, this is dark sepia. I'm bringing it back. We used it in the wolf. Just want to bring some darkness to the base of these guys. this is further colour of skin. Let's put some shadows under our wolf. Put some of that dark Naples yellow, or ochre, dark Naples ochre, up here. So I did say I wanted these to be autumn leaves, but I don't think making them orange is going to work for us. So this little sort of purpley base with a, bring them to life with this yellow. And sort of got there in the end. And we're in a twilight setting, aren't we? About some brown ochre to give these trees a little bit more body. I'm just going to put something into this as well. Right, I'm bringing my black back. So I really want to get some lovely shadows going on. What about some deep cobalt green, just to add a little bit of dimensionality to these little light leaves. All right, some more dark cobalt green. All right, I'm going to bring in a little bit of a jelly roll. I'm going to leave this little linen white. I'm going to do some little bit of highlighting on my wolf. A few stars shining through in the sky. Or are they eyes in the forest? Well, I think we're done. That's Red from Forest Song. We spent a little bit of time on this one, but it was so much fun that we couldn't stop. There she is, walking through the forest on the way to Grandma's and unaware that she's being stalked by a beautiful wolf in the middle of this twilight forest. Well, that was fun. Glad that you joined me on this journey, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed colouring along. As I said, if you don't have the book, you can grab, which is Forest Song, you can grab the Colour Club pack for March, which has got everything I'll be colouring in March. And I think this ends the colouring for March for RJ Hampson. And I'm looking forward to April because we've already chosen what we're going to be colouring in April. Well, once again, guys, thanks for watching. No doubt I'll see you in another video, but for now I am going to say goodbye. See you later.